The Netherlands has established comprehensive data protection laws and regulations that align with the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, of the European Union. GDPR implementation. The Dutch GDPR Implementation Act, Wetgevingwet AVG, serves as the local implementation of the GDPR in the Netherlands, adhering to a policy-neutral approach that maintains the requirements of the previous Dutch Data Protection Act, Wetbescherming Persoonsgegevens, as closely as possible under the GDPR framework. Territorial scope. The application of the GDPR in the Netherlands turns on whether an organization is established in the EU or processes personal data of data subjects who are in the Union where the processing activities are related to offering goods or services to such data subjects in the EU or monitoring their behavior as far as their behavior takes place within the EU. Data Protection Authority. The Dutch Data Protection Authority, Autoriteit Persoonsgegevens, is the supervisory authority responsible for enforcing GDPR compliance in the Netherlands. Data Protection Officer, DPO. Entities are required to appoint a DPO if their core activities consist of processing operations that require regular and systematic monitoring of data subjects on a large scale, or if they process sensitive personal data on a large scale. Organizations must register their DPO with the Dutch Data Protection Authority. Legal basis for processing. Processing of personal data is permissible under specific conditions, such as with the consent of the data subject, for the performance of a contract, to comply with a legal obligation, to protect the vital interests of the data subject or another person, for the performance of a task carried out in the public interest or in the exercise of official authority vested in the controller, and for the purposes of the legitimate interests pursued by the controller or by a third party. Special category data. The processing of special category data is generally prohibited unless one of the exemptions applies, such as explicit consent from the data subject, or if the processing is necessary for reasons of substantial public interest on the basis of union or member state law. Data subject rights. The GDPR grants individuals a range of rights regarding their personal data, including the right to access, rectify, erase, restrict processing, data portability, object to processing, and the right not to be subject to automated decision-making, including profiling. Breach notification. There is a general requirement for personal data breaches to be notified to the supervisory authority and, in certain cases, to the affected data subjects. Fines and enforcement. The GDPR empowers supervisory authorities to impose fines for non-compliance, which can reach up to 4% of annual worldwide turnover, or EUR 20 million, whichever is higher. The Dutch DPA also has the power to impose administrative enforcement orders, or orders subject to penalty, to enforce obligations laid down by or pursuant to the Implementation Act.